Hi, this is Dr. Martha Lucas with my podcast, Energy Medicine Woman. You can listen to my podcast on my YouTube channel, Dr. Martha Lucas. It's also available as Energy Medicine Woman on Anchor and Spotify. On my website, acupuncturewoman.com, you may contact me if you need to. Also, my Instagram is Your Wellness with Dr. Martha because I am available to help you via telehealth or telemedicine or a Zoom meeting, just pretty much anywhere in the world. So we are available. We can be together. Thank goodness for technology. So today I want to talk about, excuse me, how to manage your New Year's expectations. Because I know in the beginning, I'm making this right after the new year of 2021. And I know in the beginning, people were like, oh, 2021, I can't wait till 2020 is over. And it's like it was going to be fabulous just because it was January 1st, 2021. And I didn't mean to be excuse me, a downer about it. But I said to a few people, I live in Denver and we have an awful lot of homeless camps here. And I said to a few people, I couldn't stop myself, you know what, those people are still going to be homeless on January 1st and January 2nd. Just because there's been a turn of a calendar year is not going to change their life or a lot of people's lives. A lot of people's lives, yeah, I guess, okay, good, 2020 is over, but it wasn't like a miracle suddenly that 2021 was going to turn things around. Granted, we have the vaccine coming. There are a lot of good things to look forward to, we hope. But we always have to hope that, right? Most of the time when we look into the future, it's negative, negative, negative. And I know that a lot of people started 2021 saying, well, this is going to be better. This is going to be more positive. And let's hope that it is. Let's really, really hope that it is. But at any rate, that was a big expectation, right? It was kind of like, oh, well, 2021, things are going to be great now. So let's talk about that a little bit. Let's talk about, the fact that, okay, if you felt like 2020 was just a nightmare and you want to leave that wreckage behind, good. I mean, for a lot of us, businesses were destroyed or impacted. At least 5 members of my personal family have had COVID. Thank God. They are all getting well, but one of my daughters is especially worried about the long haul symptoms. So, I'm sure that a lot of us are like, yeah, 2020, I can't wait to move on. And it's good to be positive. I think we needed to hit refresh for sure. Think about it like we're hitting refresh and we're, in our same life, right? We're in our same browser, but we're going to look forward to some new things coming up. I think we still need to emotionally prepare ourselves for being in for a while. For this pandemic is not going away anytime soon, it seems like, but let's get some joy out of the situation. Let's get some joy out of our family. Let's notice when we're having one of those perfect moments. Maybe you're outside for a walk or having your exercise, or I've started this drawing chalk drawings on my front sidewalk just because it makes me smile. Enjoy that moment. Enjoy those moments. So, one thing you can do is kind of create a spreadsheet of joy. Some people create a spreadsheet of gratitude, maybe start each day with one thing to be grateful for, or each night one thing to be grateful for. Actually write it down. One other way for a spreadsheet of joy is to kind of plan some small things. Okay, I think last year, 2020, a lot of people missed trips. I certainly did. One of my son and his family were living in Curacao for a couple of years teaching, and we had a trip planned that we had to cancel in May. I mean, the airline canceled our trip back into the US, so we knew we were going to just not be able to go. So, you know, that's a pretty big disappointment. It was a big, quote unquote, big trip. It wasn't like we were just, you know, driving over to Moab or something. So this year, I don't know about planning any big trips. I usually teach overseas. I've taught in Turkey, Chinese medicine for the last 13 years, except 2020. I'd love to plan that trip for 2021, but as you probably know, this is just January 2021. We're probably going to be waiting on that. But at any rate, you know, try to choose some sort of activity or some sort of little joy, some sort of little thing you can plan that's maybe what you would call small to do, and put that on your calendar. You know, some people, something that'll give you a little spark of joy, let's put it that way. I'm sure there are things in your life that give you a little joy or a little bit of a smile. So, you know, maybe it's watching a particular show or listening to a particular podcast or watching the kids play down the street or in the park. So there are some little joyful things, or being with your own children, being with your grandchildren, something like that. Try to put things like that on your calendar a little bit. So, because, you know, honestly, this pandemic can seem like what some people call a never-ending punishment. It just seems like, I told a few people over the holidays that I had become inured to disappointment, meaning, yep, not going to be able to get together with my family for dinner for Thanksgiving. Okay, check that off. Well, what about Christmas? Are we going to be able to have dinner together? Well, check that off. What about our camping trip? Oh, check that off. So we have become, it seems like kind of a never-ending punishment. So the thing to do is, rather than feel like an inmate, get yourself involved with other people, even if it is online. I have a couple of patients who have literally just not seen anyone except the people they live with since March of 2020. So, you know, get them to look out the window at you. You know, maybe they'd be up for some sort of a porch visit, but think about what you like to do, what is important to you, who is important to you, and try to create some reality around that a little bit, because we are social beings. This whole idea of social distancing, which really should be called physical distancing, is challenging. It's challenging. Like, I believe that hugs heal. Well, hugs, my patients, we don't hug anymore. I did create this kind of hug a few months ago where I stand with my back to my grandchildren with my arms up, and we all have masks on and we're outside, and they can come up and hug me around my waist. So, because I know that hugs heal and it's important. So if I can't be nurtured by other people's hugs, how do you give your own self some hugs? So trying to figure out, we are resilient. We are very resilient. We are adaptable. And happiness can come from within, but we need to work it a little bit. We need to figure out, what is it that makes you happy? What are you able to appreciate that you have? What are you able to appreciate that makes you feel better? So, and it doesn't necessarily mean things. It can be that I called a friend today, or I made a FaceTime with a friend. It could be health. Good health. It could just be the fact that I have good health. For example, because I'm a healthcare provider and I happen to do Chinese medicine in a Western medicine clinic, we were invited to get the vaccine, and I did. And I have to say, that day I felt pretty grateful, because I thought, you know, I want to be back with my family. I want to be hugging my family. I don't want my patients to be fearful that they're going to give me COVID anymore. And so I was like the rest of the, you know, there were MDs in there and nurses where I went to get my injection, and some of them were calling it a miracle. And I thought, yes, this is going to keep me happy for a few days. There is an end in sight, for example, for myself. So, you know, staying in the moment, right? enjoying that moment of feeling grateful, enjoying that moment of that maybe 5-second hug that I was able to get a few months ago from one of my grandchildren, enjoying being in the moment. Focus on the moment, not the big picture. The big picture could be people saying, I heard somebody the other day say vaccinations will not be finished until 2022. Oh my goodness, let's not think about the picture that big. Let's think about today, this moment, what we're doing. Anxiety comes from casting ourselves into the future, from casting ourselves into an uncertain future, a future that looks grim, but trying to keep your energy in the moment. It's kind of like when I'm running or exercising, not thinking about, oh gosh, how many more miles do I have? But the moment of what I'm doing now. I have a strong body. I love being outside. So focusing on the moment is very, very important. Now, how do you stay there? Well, there are several different ways to stay in the moment. One that has become pretty popular is listing one or several things for which you are grateful. And you know what? Your cup of coffee in the morning can be one of those things. It does not have to be any big, huge deal. If one way to stay in the moment is you notice that you're feeling overwhelmed, okay, you need to take care of that right now, not tomorrow, not next week. Get outside and do a few jumping jacks. In Chinese medicine, aerobic exercise will help reduce that feeling of being overwhelmed. So you have bad knees, you can't go out and do jumping jacks or run. Well, how about some high stepping for a moment in your own house? Someone told me that they love those little trampolines, that they have knee problems, but they can get a good aerobic exercise on those little trampolines. So trying to get some aerobic exercise, take some deep breaths. Those are much better coping strategies, or better for you, than things like overeating or drinking too much alcohol or using too many drugs. Those are coping strategies that some people have used. I mean, we've all heard about the COVID-15 or the cortisol roll, the cortisol roll, someone told me the other day, on her belly, because she's gained some weight because stress, this continuous stress especially, makes our body make more cortisol, and excess of cortisol changes the way our digestion works and also can lead to more belly fat. So this person was grabbing her roll and telling me that that was her cortisol roll. So, and really, hey, you know what? These last 10 months, has anybody been motivated to lose weight? Well, I guess some people have. I can remember in the beginning saying to my husband when I had to close down my clinic for a few weeks, wow, if I was really motivated, I could be the thinnest and the most strongest I've ever been during this time. But you know what? Anxiety, depression, stressful feelings do not equal motivation. Now, I'm not saying that you only can be motivated when you're happy, but they do, especially in the beginning, with this idea that we don't know how long it's going to last, really does squash motivation. I also tell patients who are upset about that they can't seem to get it together, I tell them, if you have a knee injury and you go to your surgeon, the surgeon says, okay, on January 30th, we're going to have to, fix your ACL. So then have your surgery. For 6 weeks after that, you're going to have some PT. And then honestly, after those 6 weeks, you should be pretty good on the mend, ready to start your exercise again. Okay, on January 30th, something's going to happen. For 6 weeks after that, something's going to happen, and then you're going to be done. Well, the pandemic isn't like that. The stress just keeps going on and on and on and on. It goes down, it goes up, it gets worse, it looks horrible. We don't know when it's going to end. All of this, that is making our central nervous systems push an awful lot of cortisol into our bodies. So right now, be gentle with yourself. Be gentle with yourself. You aren't motivated today? Well, you know what? Maybe you'll be motivated to take care of that tomorrow. think of ways that you can manage your stress a little bit better. So, if you are overeating or over drinking, find maybe you need to, it's true, maybe you need a therapist, maybe you need to find a trusted friend to talk with or family member. You might need some support, but you can also give yourself positive messages like try to do the good things, but don't do the things that aren't good for me. Or today I'm going to do things that are good for me and not things that are what we would say not healthy behavior. So you can make a little mantra like that for yourself. Now I'm not saying never eat a piece of cake again or don't drink your afternoon cocktail. I'm just saying that, if these things are what you're using to repeatedly change your mood, and generally speaking, more of them as time goes on, then, and guess what else it can do? Make you feel guilty, right? It can make you feel guilty, like, another day where I had 3 cocktails instead of my 1, or, the scale is still not showing any movement downward. Well, you know what? Try to do the good, healthy things, not the things that aren't very healthy. Just keep trying to tell yourself that. And also try to take a little more control. It is true that the pandemic is kind of holding us hostage or captive, if you will. We kind of can't get away from it. Even one of my daughters keeps saying, oh, she's going to try to go to somewhere, some little island. But, when she looks them up, the people have masks on next to the pool and that sort of thing. It's true. It's like we're hostages, we're captive. We can't get away from this thing. So, and it's uncertain, as I said. So thinking about, thinking about how can you gain a little more control over your environment. So for example, I will walk around the block today. Okay, you need to start an exercise program. You need to get a little more control over your life and your anxiety. A little baby step would be, I'm going to walk around the block today, or I'm going to do 3 push-ups, or I'm going to have 3 healthy meals today. So, trying to do something, some way to activate your sense of self-control will help. So I will tell you that to feel like you have a little more control in your life, exercise is a great, great option. I heard a doctor at the Mayo Clinic, I think, an MD, say years ago, I don't like to use the words magic pill, because that's one of the problems with Western medicine is, right? Oh, I have a pain, I'm going to go get a pill. I have high blood pressure, I'm going to go get a pill. I have this and that, I'm going to go get a pill. Well, exercise is kind of a magic pill. And even in Chinese medicine, as I said earlier, exercise does reduce stress. It does reduce our emotional stagnation. We will feel better. So it can help with losing weight, with reducing your blood pressure, with building up better cardiovascular health, with lung health, with mood, oh my gosh, with anxiety and depression. Because if you can get those endorphins, if you can boost your endorphins, then what's going to happen is that daily routine, that little bit of, I'm going to walk around the block today, is going to turn into, I'm going to walk around 2 blocks today. I'm going to walk around 3 blocks today. My stepson is a world-class runner. And he told me one day after he won a 100-mile race in the mountains, the Allure 100, I said, oh my gosh, I just don't even know how you can do that. I mean, for me to run 3 miles, 5 miles, it's like the whole time, and he said, well, I don't run the whole time. I walk. He said, I never run the whole time. I said, you're kidding. He said, well, for one thing, I don't run uphill. I let the downhill kind of just take me. And no, no, you don't run the whole time. Well, he changed my exercise life, because I do like to run. I play soccer and I feel like I need to run in between soccer games to keep up my strength. But he changed my everyday exercise routine to not feel guilty, to not be, not put myself down if I wasn't running every minute. So see, that little bit, listening to a world class runner tell me I don't run all the time made me forgive myself, made me feel like it's okay. Oh, I can walk some of the time, I can run some of the time, I can sprint some of the time. Today, all I feel like is walking and enjoying the parks. So, you know, there are ways like that that we suddenly like sheds light on what life is about. So I hope that these tips and information help you. As I said, I am available for you online. If you go to my website, acupuncturewoman.com, you can schedule a telehealth appointment to get you going on a lifestyle that is positive for you, that's nurturing for you, that's helping you sleep better. It is all really possible. So take care of yourself, stay healthy, and we will be together again.